my name is Becky and I'm the Events and Communications Officer at the Centre. I'm joined by my three colleagues, Nadia El-Sabai, who's the Executive Director of the Centre, Amani Hassan, who is the Programme Director of the Centre, and Bharti Budia, who is the Office Manager. I don't know where she's gone. Oh, she's down in the bottom left. So for those of you who don't know, the Arab British Centre is a charity that promotes understanding of the Arab world in the UK. We do that through a cultural programme, including the Safar Film Festival and the Award for Culture. And we also have a centre based in central London, which houses resident organisations that work in similar fields. We also have lots of different courses and we do events there. We have a library. Obviously, it's currently closed, and that's kind of why we started the Hangouts in the first place a month ago, I guess now. But yeah, so we are really excited to be welcoming two people working on this year's Liverpool Arab Arts Festival. So the Arab British Centre and the festival have a really long-standing, friendly relationship. LAAF, Liverpool Arab Arts Festival, won the Award for Culture, I think in 2012. Is that right? Okay, good. And over the past few years, there's been lots of different collaborations between the two organisations, including they screened some of our films from Safar Film Festival, and we also went there last year. And they hosted one of our little artist meetings, which was really kind of them. And yeah, so it was funny because we were actually talking about the festival earlier this week and we were like, what's going on with it? We really hope that it's going to be going ahead. And then it was one of those crazy moments where literally, like, I think Nadia was like, oh my God, I've just received an email saying that they're going online at that exact moment that we were talking about it. So it basically just inspired us to be like, these are the people that we want to speak to this week, and talk about how the huge undertaking of taking the festival online. So for Jack is going to talk a little bit more about the festival in a minute, but yeah, so Jack is the festival manager of Liverpool Arab Arts Festival. He's also an independent curator and producer and writer. And you were saying you've worked at the festival for a couple of years, I think?
Yeah, since 2017.
Okay, amazing. And so Jack is managing and leading the online transition of the festival at the moment. And we're also joined by Jamila Boughelaf, who is a dancer and co-founder of Hawiyya Dance Company. I'm just going to quickly refer to my notes. So Hawiyya Dance Company is an all-women's collective who explore identity, culture and resistance through dance. They're a culturally diverse group that uses the folk dance, Dabke, and contemporary dance to create narrative works that explore themes such as resistance, oppression, displacement, social justice, individual and cultural identity. So Jack and Jamila are collaborating at the moment on a piece called Curfew, which is going to be one of the lead events at this year's festival. So welcome, Jamila, as well.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
But yeah, Jack, I thought we could start off by, if you could just tell us a little bit about the festival, for anyone that maybe doesn't know about it, and also how it kind of ties into the cultural landscape of Liverpool.
Sure. Well, yeah, thanks, Becky, and hello, everyone. It's really lovely to see everyone here. It's my first Friday Hangout and first participating. Yeah, so just to give you a background for anyone who's not familiar with Liverpool Arab Arts Festival, and I'll use LAAF for the festival from now on. So LAAF was founded in 1998, and it really came from within Liverpool's Arabic communities, predominantly the Yemeni community. So it's always had community roots at the heart of the festival, and that's something that continues to this day and is a real guiding light for us. The early years of LAAF were really focused on bringing Arab culture into schools, into community settings, and a real platform for really raising awareness of Arab culture in Liverpool, and really championing and giving communities in the city a voice on different levels. in 2002, the festival model started. So that initially LAAF started off quite small as a weekender, and that was in partnership with Bluecoat, which is an arts institution in Liverpool for the visual and performing arts. And over the next few years, LAAF really did work in partnerships with institutions in the city. And year by year, the festival grew, became more ambitious, up to about 2008, which when Liverpool was, as some of you might be aware, European Capital of Culture. The effect of that year was huge for Liverpool. I think it's safe to say it really raised the game in the city, sadly coinciding with a financial crash, as we all know. But the impact of 2008 also marked the point for LAAF when it became an independent organisation. At that point, everyone had realised who were working on the festival that there was such an appetite and such a positive reception to LAAF's work that it was time to step away from the partnership model with Bluecoat and Liverpool Arabic Centre, who are fantastic long-term partners, and really becoming its own organisation. So following on from 2008, the festival grew and grew to its kind of current iteration, which is 10 days each year. So each July, we hold the festival, and it's multidisciplinary. So we welcome and try to include as many art forms as possible. So we range from experimental theatre through to exhibitions, all the way to our traditional closing event, which is Family Day, which is the image which is helpfully just popped on the screen.
That was lucky.
Excellent timing. And that's a real celebration. We get 3,000 to 4,000 people every year, and we have headline musicians and also artists from Liverpool as well. And we're really keen to champion artists, Arab artists from Liverpool and the UK, but also from the Arab world as well, bringing that over and really getting a good mix of artists and artworks and ideas. Really, that's what we're really all about.
Amazing. The picture, the third one, the Reem Banner tribute, me and Amani were actually at that event last year. And it was one of those amazing moments where the crowd were like going wild. And I don't think that they'd necessarily prepared for like people wanting an encore. So it was one of those amazing moments of like pure creation where all of them just like got together and started like sang one of their songs that previously there'd only been a few people on the stage. And it was just like the atmosphere there was really amazing and lovely. But yeah, so you, as I mentioned earlier, we've been on lockdown now for a month. And what with the festival being in July, I wanted to ask, like, when did you kind of first begin with your team to think that maybe the festival might not be as you expected this year, and how did you go about kind of dealing with that?
Yes, it's a great question, and it's something that we as a team have been working towards since February, about early February. So obviously the situation was developing across the world and spreading, which no one really, and probably still doesn't know what's happening. But as a festival, it's our kind of responsibility to think and plan and what impact that has. And the LAAF team, festival teams, that's Anahid Kasabian, who's the festival programmer, and Thwaite, the director, and Laura Brown, who leads on marketing. We'd been working on the programme for over a year, and we were reaching the point of really tying down most of the programme in terms of contractual, all the logistical side you need to make the festival happen. And we held a board meeting in early February, which I think was a pivotal point. We have a artist-led BEMA board, which the board are absolutely fantastic. And we really, over the course of a few hours, kind of mapped out that this would be a problem. We all felt that the warning signs were there, and even in the least case scenario, it would have some impact. So from that point, we convened several steering groups across the organisation and board, and that really kind of helped us prepare both organisationally, but also start to shift our thinking artistically. Mm. In that meeting, there was a real appetite for not cancelling outright, which unfortunately, we've seen so many festivals forced into that position. We knew we wanted to honour the work as much as possible and find an alternative way of working, which we feel would still give those artists a platform, but not be a kind of temporary solution or something that's half-baked. Mm. So from the next step from that was we were having conversations with our funders, our core funders, so such as Arts Council England, Liverpool City Council, the Qatar International Foundation. And all our funders have been incredibly supportive, and that is important to state because in all those conversations, they've given us the ability to think alternatively and have those conversations with artists. Mm. And those conversations are still ongoing. We had to make the difficult decision as we entered into mid-March, just before lockdown, to cancel several events that simply wouldn't translate online. So Family Day, you saw the photo. There's no way on earth we could have 3,000 people together in this climate. Other events simply wouldn't have worked online or didn't fit with the intention of the work. Mm. So as a team, we really have thought that through and continue to think that through, and we're just exploring those alternatives. We've got a weekly steering group that meet via Zoom, and they met earlier today, and that's really to keep bouncing ideas off, really thinking about not only our main programme, but how we engage with audiences as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we found is that you just need to be in constant communication because everything changes so quickly, and a good idea one day could be completely irrelevant the next day, basically.
That's so true. I mean, one of the things we initially thought about was offering artist bursaries, small bursaries, and that was very early on in the lockdown. But because we didn't want to rush into decisions or perhaps make knee-jerk reactions, that was something we cooled on. Because as an organisation, we felt that we could support artists in the longer term in different ways. And the digital programme and engagement work, which obviously, and the partnership with Jamila, is really pertinent to that.
So yeah, Jamila, maybe would you please be able to just tell us a little bit about Curfew, your piece, and the inspiration behind it in its kind of in its original form, and I don't know whether it's changed because of its new nature.
Of course. So yes, so Curfew is very much a collaborative production. It's a piece of work that started in 2017, actually. So it's a original collaboration between Hawiyya Dance Company and Al Palestinian Dance Troupe based in El Bir, Ramallah, West Bank. And it started as I said, like as a common piece of work where we all felt as dancers that we felt the need to actually send some sort of wake-up call to the world, and really start thinking about how can we engage with people in a different way? How can we move away from normal sort of messages or the normal ideas that people may have about, for example, situations of oppression or about Palestine or situations of injustice, and how can we actually engage individuals to become more engaged agents of their lives and to become more positive actors in their lives to actually bring some social action and engagement. So Curfew itself is a piece of work that reflects on the way individuals interact with news. Obviously, every day we are bombarded by news, and especially in this moment. And the way each individual engage and reacts to news is significantly different based on their context, based on their cultural background, and the lived experience. And we really, in this production, we don't want to give an answer to the audience, but we want to really challenge each individual to actually think about how do they really engage with the news they hear every day? Because it's so easy as a person to feel, well, actually, I'm not touched by whatever is going on in the world. News sometimes becomes something that is very distant to us. And especially I feel in European communities, let's say like Western communities, I feel news that we get sometimes are very distant. So we're not very concerned. Whereas, for example, we wanted to bring the experience from Palestine, and we've been discussing this as a group with each individual dancer. We've been talking a lot about what news means to us and what the social action means to us, because obviously in Palestine the way people use and consume news is completely different, because a piece of news that reaches you through radio, for example, could change your entire day because of blockages or so on. So we started really working around that concept. And it is important to say that at Curfew itself, whilst it is being developed with a group based in Palestine, and there are a lot of reflection on the situation in Palestine, it goes beyond Palestine itself. So we're really trying to send a global universal message. So it is really about what can you do as an individual in face of injustice, in face of inequality, what can you do to change the situation? Because as an individual, you may not be able to change global politics, and we're living in a crazy world, and I wish we could, as individuals, really changing that. But in our own little worlds, or in our own little, activities that we're doing, we can do stuff we can do things to change the situation even a little bit. So that is very much the meaning of Curfew. At the moment, it's very, very relevant. We started discussing both with Liverpool Arab Arts Festival, amongst ourselves within Hawiyya, and with the Fanoon and Marsam, because obviously this project is also a collaboration with Marsam UK, and with our funders. So Arts Council England is funding this project, and I have to recognize, as Jack already said, they've been really, really supportive in understanding our needs and the need for this production. So it is very relevant at the moment, because Curfew, as I said, it is about understanding how do we engage with the situation to improve things, and without making any blunt comparisons, but I feel at the moment it's probably one of the very rare times in history where people, perhaps in the UK or other audiences, actually can really have a bit of a sense of what living with restrictions may mean. So we now know how it feels to be separated from our families. We know what it feels not to be able to travel. We know what it feels, to have to ask for permission or have to wait before moving from different, between cities or between countries. And I'm definitely not comparing this to situations of wars or oppression, because actually I'm pretty against that reference, that sense. I feel it's very reductive. But at the same time, I feel it's really good opportunity to reflect and think, okay, so if this is how we're feeling right now, when we have what it is a curfew in our lives at the moment, how would it feel like for somebody living in Palestine under oppression and constant lockdown, effectively? Or how would it feel for somebody, a refugee who hasn't been able to see their family in 7-10 years because of borders, because of restrictions and travel and that. Yeah. So I feel in that sense it's very relevant.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about that later in the Q&A. But so how are you? I'm not going to show I was going to show the trailer, but I've put it in the chat because I'm a little bit worried about my internet. I think it might shut it down, basically, all the joys of working from home. But Jamila, so if people want to watch the trailer, they can, but it's an extremely dynamic piece with a number of different dancers, an amazing set. Obviously it takes a lot of room. How are you translating it into a digital performance?
Okay, so we're doing a number of things. So as part of the project, in addition to the Curfew performances, we also we're working with Liverpool Arab Arts Festival to deliver workshops for the audience. So in relation to Curfew as a production itself, so we still want to bring it to our audiences as a live piece of work. So it will happen. It will just be postponed. So dates for live performance dates, they will be confirmed later on. But for now, what we're trying to do is to really start working with what we already have. So looking at the footage and material and videos and photos that we have. We are currently developing a website that is very much like based on the project. So we're really trying to still be able to share that message of Curfew through online material, through the website, and specifically through a photography exhibition. And a photography exhibition was in collaboration with our photographer, José Farinha, who actually has followed this collaboration from the beginning. And that shows both aspects of the collaboration as well as important elements of the production itself. So we will have this online element. And for devising and improving the production, I have to say, Curfew, we were in a way used to work online, because obviously it was like a cross-national, cross-border collaboration. So we were working between London and Ramallah. So we had to, even from the early stages, we really had to work online. So the way we devised the production from the beginning was having like brainstorming meeting and thinking about the themes, start filming ourselves and creating choreographies that then we would share through online videos on Facebook group, etc. So the way of working hasn't changed so much. Obviously, we are aware that we're not going to be together very soon. So at the moment, we're really trying to continue that process. So we've already arranged a sort of like Zoom call with all the dancers, but we really started rethinking and talking about what Dabke means to us. We're talking about the importance of fusing Dabke for folk dance with contemporary dance, and then also thinking about what Curfew means to us. So we're developing these videos that we'll be sharing with the public very soon. And then, as I mentioned, we'll be having workshops as well. So we'll be delivering a free Dabke workshop for everybody to join in.
Just for the sake of anyone that might not know, would you be able to just quickly explain what Dabke is?
Of course, absolutely. So Dabke is a folk dance. The Dabke that ourselves as Hawiyya bring to our audiences is based on Palestinian Dabke. But Dabke itself is a dance that is shared across a variety of regions and countries, especially like in the Levantine regions. And it's very much a folk dance that is based in very strong cultural and historical connections and connection with the land. So Dabke itself is very much bringing sort of like people together and a sort of like an energy to, I mean, there are some stories that say that in the past it was used to actually motivate sorry, I just got distracted by the messages. They were trying to motivate farmers actually when they were working, or people when they were building roofs. So they were actually stomping on mud to actually create roofs. So it really has this very cultural and historical connotation. And it is a dance where there's a lot of stomping. And it's very, very strong. And at the moment, specifically in relation to Palestine, Dabke now has got it personifies actually the resistance itself to work against oppression. So it's very, very powerful dance.
Yeah, and you mentioned yesterday about, we were kind of talking about, obviously the Easter holidays finished this week, and a lot of parents who are homeschooling have gone back to educating and entertaining their children from home, which sounds like I tip my hat to them. You said that you're doing some Dabke workshops for children at home, and I think that would be really interesting to hear about, and I'm sure a lot of people would be.
Jamila, can you do us a demonstration? Come on.
Right now.
Right now, yeah. And I'll even dance with you. Come on, a live demonstration.
I would love to be able to do it. The only problem, I've injured my ankle a few weeks ago.
And this is
right, next Friday. Next Friday, you're doing it.
A bit of shoulder movement. Sorry, been put on the spot.
No,
next Friday for sure.
Don't worry.
For sure. No, as you were saying, absolutely. We are, so from the beginning we were discussing with LAAF. So like Jack and I, and as well as others from Hawiyya and then Fanun, we really started from early days. We started thinking about what can we bring online, how can we engage the audiences. So we really started thinking about the workshops elements and how important it was for not only our audience but for LAAF's audience, and in terms of like our collaboration, because we obviously were meant to perform at the family day event as well. So we really started thinking, what can we offer to families and to people who have to entertain their children at the moment and teach them. So yes, we will be having live sessions, Dabke sessions for parents and their children, any age welcome. We haven't announced it yet, but we'll be coming up soon. So watch the space. And we will basically have a very soft session where we'll be showing people how to dance Dabke with the babies, with the toddlers, and how actually can we all join in for a Dabke challenge at the end.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, please could you mute your microphones if you're not speaking? I don't know whose phone's ringing.
Ignore it.
Who? Oh, there we go. Okay, amazing. I can't wait to see those workshops. I've also actually never learned how to Dabke, so maybe I will do it as well. And Nadia and Amani can have a good laugh at me on Zoom.
No, I'll don't worry. My skills in Dabke are very poor, so we can both be learning together.
And mine too. So yeah, we can all laugh at each other.
Yeah. Great. So Nadia, you had a question for Jack about LAAF. Do you want to ask him that question? And also, if anyone has questions, please put them in the chat and we can go through them.
Hi, Jack. This is a little bit of a trick question because it's something that we've been asked almost on a daily basis, and it's quite difficult to answer. So, but I'm just wondering that how you as a festival are connecting to your usual community and to audience within Liverpool, and also the Arab community around Liverpool, and the barriers that maybe that you're going to face within an online festival, beyond the usual social media channels. Like, have you thought about how you might reach out to communities who may face other barriers, such as like language or access to technology, things like that?
Yes, thanks, Nadia. That's a really important question, and one we're continually wrestling with in a positive way. That is at the forefront of our thinking. It's very easy to say, oh, we're just going to do a digital program, but actually those inherent issues about access, privilege, assumptions, all those things we're really thinking long and hard about. To answer about how we keeping connected to local communities. Again, over the many years LAAF has been running, we've built strong and deep partnerships, many that are still flourishing today and new ones that are developing. Those partnerships are really key for us as well, just in terms of keeping connected, making sure that we're communicating. Zoom has been amazing for that, but also just in terms of reaching those different communities, speaking to our contacts and our networks and our friends, and just ensuring that doesn't drop off. Super important for us. In terms of the actual program itself, that is a really interesting challenge for us, because I think as well, you know, even with Zoom, if even doing a Zoom event, and maybe you have also found this again, that's already putting barriers up to audiences. You're assuming that the audience can easily access Zoom. Some people might not have appropriate equipment, or they might not have an internet connection. There might be a myriad of different reasons why people can't connect or can't access. We normally every year publish our festival brochure bilingually, English and Arabic, and we were going to do that this year and had quite a lot of copy already translated. We're now, because of the programme shifting, we're looking at how is the best way to communicate bilingually still digitally. That's something we were talking about for many hours yesterday as well. Just ensuring that communication is still there in the way we want to do it.
Yeah, great. No, it's something that we've been asked. We get asked a lot, and I think it's the same thing. I mean, we're very lucky to have you know, lots of partnerships with arts organisations and societies, and even informal community groups who run everything through Facebook or even WhatsApp or Viber. So I think that's something that we, you know, even using those messaging services and putting, like, distilling something into shareable files is something that we may have to consider at some point. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. But I think also on the flip side, like, I feel that people ask us this question a lot, and it's posed as like, this is going to be a really huge challenge, but clearly the opportunity also outweighs that challenge, I think, to a point. I mean, like, in this call, like, we've never had people joining our events from the US or Italy before, and we do now. So there's obviously opportunities as well.
And that's exactly the way you have to look at it. I think a couple of things just to follow on quickly. So we are speaking with each artist one-on-one, or you know, and we're having those appropriate conversations to realise what would work best. So film screenings, for example, there are issues about digital licensing. So we're trying to think during our festival window, hosting those films, but in a way that doesn't damage the filmmaker putting their content out digitally. They're really important questions for artists, and they're the ones we're doing that process through one-on-one conversations. But absolutely, Nadia, the opportunities are great. I mean, already one event that couldn't happen is going ahead because that geographical boundary is no longer there. But also longer term for us all, we all know what, in terms of the climate we're operating in with visas, it seems a really pertinent time for that, and how we can, as a whole, collectively challenge the difficulty in bringing artists over to the UK.
Yeah, definitely. I've been thinking a lot about how, and I guess it kind of relates to Curfew and about news and stuff, how obviously everyone's basically forgotten about Brexit and all the new visa regulations that were going to come in and have just been released, that were massively impacting the cultural sector as long as other sectors across the whole UK. And I'd be very interested to see how, like, obviously it's amazing that everyone can connect digitally, but I hope we can also fight for that freedom of movement again, for not just culture's sake. But Jamila, have a couple of questions for you. So Thoroya said, will all people be able to access the dance workshops, or is it just those connected to the festival?
So yeah, not everybody will be able to join in. The way we're developing the workshops, so we will have the live sessions will be through LAAF, and then we will be also, we're pre-recording videos, so we're actually giving actual Dabke classes, because we felt that sometimes, and that goes back to the challenges of going digital. At first we thought, okay, let's just go live with some workshops and through Instagram Live, etc. But we felt that with Dabke, that could actually put people off. If you can't follow, then you just give up. We didn't want to do that, so we decided to pre-record videos and to start from the backgrounds and warm up and all you need to know about Dabke, all the way to sort of beginners, intermediate type of class. So those will be pre-recorded, available on LAAF's website, as well as on Hawiyya and Fanon and Marsa on social media. So everyone will be able to join in.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll definitely all have to do that. And Amani also asked, Jamila, where does your interest in Dabke come from?
That's very interesting. So probably, like I should have said earlier, I am myself not Palestinian, and I think it's very important points really that we as a Hawiyya we want to make, in the sense that we are a culturally diverse group, and we're really coming together in, to support the Palestinian cause, but also to really stand for injustice in a broader sense. I'm Algerian. Really, a while ago, I was reconnected with my London, and I had friends dancing in the Hawiyya dance group, and I thought it was, and I was mesmerized. I'd never seen Dabke before in my life, and I just, I don't know, the energy that he gave me, and it was different from any other dance forms. I really felt that not only it was, I really felt that as a dance form, it was just giving me a message of being grounded and being connected, and the livelihood that people were having. It was just really amazing. And at that point, I was like, that's it, I want to do this, I want to join. So I auditioned for a Zaytuna dance troupe at the time, and I stayed with them for quite a while, and I think like 5 or 6 years with them. And then here then was funded by some of the from Zaytuna dance troupe, because like 4 of us came to the with Hawiyya. So really my interest for Dabke started in a way by chance, in a way by reconnecting to my Algerian roots, funny enough, and then I discovered something new. And the reason, as I said, the reason why I'm passionate about Dabke, because many times people ask me why on earth am I still dancing Dabke? I feel it is because of the energy that really goes straight to you, and because when I'm dancing Dabke, when I'm on stage, I really feel that there is this solidarity. I really feel that whilst, as I said, like I'm not able as a person to change the situation in Palestine or anywhere else, actually, but when I dance with Palestinians and non-Palestinians, willingness to
Jamila,
change,
your sound is cutting.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure whether it was just on my computer. Sorry, would you just repeat your last few sentences, please?
Sure. So I was saying that the energy of Dabke is very much what drives. Can you hear?
Yes.
Now, okay, good.
Nice.
And I feel that being on stage and being able to dance Dabke with friends who are Palestinians and non-Palestinians, and the fact that all of us really share this willingness and solidarity to change and to do something for the situation, to raise awareness about culture.
Oh, sorry, Jamila.
I
think you keep cutting out.
Sorry, try again.
Just check, maybe.
Yeah, if you switch it off and then again, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Oh.
Okay, maybe we can go to
I'll ask Jack a question in the meantime. Sorry about that, guys.
Great questions coming through.
Yeah. So Yusra said, "Hi Jack, you touched on this briefly, but I was wondering how being held in Liverpool affects/helps the festival. I'm sadly not so familiar with the cultural history of Liverpool and feel often the assumption is these events can only be successful in London." It's an interesting question.
It is, definitely. So, I mean, for anyone unfamiliar with Liverpool's history, Liverpool has a long and rich tradition as a port city, and that influenced in terms of migrants coming over, and that really shaped the population, and that for in terms of Liverpool's Arab communities, there was a strong number of Yemeni and Somali, and they're really established communities in the city. In recent years, that's diversified. So there are new communities that are growing in number, like Syrian, Iraqi, Sudanese. And in terms of Liverpool's cultural makeup itself, I think Liverpool is always a city where people love to talk and love to communicate and love to share, and there's a real solidarity, there's a real energy with Liverpool. It's hard to kind of pin down, but it's kind of I think that's something the festival really strives to connect with. So, for example, we always, for all of our physical events, we always want to have a Q&A after every event, or we always, you know, we're really keen to host workshops. And it's that kind of, there's an appetite and hunger there for kind of communication, sharing. And I think to answer the question, that would be how the characteristics of the city would bleed in with the festival. And I see them as completely intertwined, in all honesty. But it's important that we're not just a local festival, you know, we're international as well, we're national. We want to combine, we want to do it all in that sense. We want to represent Liverpool, but then, you know, speak to and bring artists in from around the world.
Great. So Jamila, can you hear us? Can you say something?
Yes, I can. Is that any better?
Brilliant. So Katie Logan has asked a question saying, I know there are regional differences within Dabke styles, but I'd love to know more about that. What differences are most distinct? And do you all see yourselves as working with a specific Dabke style even within Palestine?
So yes, there are many regional differences, and it's not just obviously it's not just within Palestine, it's also among the regions. So between, you know, Palestinian Dabke or Lebanese Dabke or Syrian Dabke, they work differently. The way we work as Hawiyya, like as I mentioned, we started from as a dance.
Oh, I'm really sorry, you've cut out again.
And so very triangle.
Jamila, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Are you on Wi-Fi or are you on 3G?
I'm on Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. Oh, I hope it's not my computer.
I can't see it either.
Yeah, maybe just.
Is this any better?
I don't know. Try saying a long sentence.
Okay. So basically, what I was saying is that so the way in Hawiyya, the way we work with Dabke has been very heavily influenced by our beginnings and the way we've learned with us, like Zaytuna dance troupe. And in that we oh, should I turn off my video? Yes, let's try that.
Oh, you sound better now, to be fair.
Okay. But let's try like this. So and that was very much based and very influenced by the Dabke style from Gaza. So the people who were leading the troupe was very much influenced by Gaza, and this is the style we started learning with. And to be honest, actually, when we already started this collaboration with the Fanoon, we've already noticed some of the differences actually in terms of not just the nature of the step, the technique, but also the names that are used. And already between West Bank and Gaza, there were like massive differences. So we are not fixed with a particular style, and whilst we developed from a Gazan-based type of Dabke, we're really keen to learn new styles, and we've already started with the collaboration with the Fanoon. But also we started thinking to go in a way beyond Dabke, and this is why for us it's very important to fuse with contemporary dance that allows us to express our message and our emotions in a different way. And we started thinking about different cultural influences. So for instance, myself being originally from Algeria, I'm very interested in seeing what a fusion between traditional Algerian dances and Dabke may bring to. So as a group, we're really keen to explore with different forms. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Thoraya has another question. So for Jack, with MENA festivals in Europe and Americas rarely reach the MENA people whose cultures they are celebrating. Oh wait, hang on. MENA festivals in Europe. Oh, basically, have you made much attempt to share your digital events with people in the MENA region?
We haven't yet because we're still working on. But no, again, they are another thing that is in our conversations and in our minds a lot, especially things such as time difference and events and how we put them online. But no, I think we talked about the positives of this situation. I think for us, it is actually the way we would normally market the festival. So even print material, for example, with that not being able to happen, or opportunities to really focus on more targeted digital outreach to the MENA regions. And that is something, yeah, that we will be making.
Yeah, can I just interject there, because I used to work with a Noor festival in London, and that was always something that struck me. Is a couple of things. Yes, if you're very lucky, because you seem like in Liverpool, you have a very established Arab community who are able to pass the message on and bring people in. But sometimes what I would feel was it's all great bringing, sorry to be so reductive, but white people over to the MENA story. So for Europeans and others who may not be. But I always used to think about, wow, we are doing all of this stuff, and most of this stuff can't even begin to happen in half of the places we represent in. So that's why I think it's brilliant that these digital, the force, what this COVID-19 has forced people to do, to go digital. I think it's amazing. I think it will, I hope that you guys use that, not to just reach audience, to get back to the Arabs and the Iranians and the North Africans whose culture we're celebrating. I just want to say that.
Oh, thank you. No, absolutely. And yeah, thanks for the input. 100%. It'll be fantastic. But I think it's going to be a long-term thing. We're not going to hit it out the park in 2 months. For us, it's a long term. We want to embed this within what we do.
Nadia, you had a question for Taha Kasim, who's also in the call. Do you want to read that out? Oh, you're muted, Nadia.
There we go, sorry.
There we go.
Just because with the benefit of Tahir being here, because I noticed him in the corner, who I believe founded the festival or was one of the founders of the festival. And I just had a question, like, when you founded the festival, what was the Arab cultural scene like in Liverpool? And did the Yemeni community have the opportunity to share their culture with Liverpudlians in other platforms? Or is this really one of the first times?
Thank you, Nadia. Well, at that time, the Yemeni community, which was the biggest Arabic community in Liverpool, they were in hiding. The majority came from one village to another village in Liverpool. So whether that was deliberate or just it happened, I really don't know. But I realized that the majority were unable to share their rich culture. And we tried to explore, what the issues were. And there were a number of things, As I said, the Yemeni community is very closed. They live on their own and hardly to share, what they have. But I think, so we started a journey that we didn't know where we were end. And now here we are after 22 years. I think we made something, but that was very hard in the beginning. And in the beginning, to be honest, it was the response among a small group of us based on our own children, not about this culture we are going to present to the rest of the world. Our kids were coming home and say, I want my name to be, I don't know, John or Joseph or Josephina. And then we realized that there was an issue. So that was, to be honest, that was real. That was a real issue that this small group had to address it head on. And how to address it? We went first to our schools where our children go to these schools and did some cultural activities. To be honest, we started with the Yemeni dress, the Yemeni music, the Yemeni window because it's unique to the world, and they loved it. So instead of my kids saying, when I come to the school, don't come any longer, you go home until we come back. And then that she wanted me to go back, to go into the classroom to tell the rest of the classroom that here is my dad. And I think that is how it all started. Now it's a big organization and I'm very proud of it.
So you should be. It's an amazing story, really.
Yeah,
and probably something that we can learn from as Arab British communities ourselves. And does the Yemeni community now have a lot of involvement in shaping the festival, or the Arab communities? Because obviously now it's more than just the Yemeni community. Are they very involved in shaping the festival and the content?
Well, all I can say, and I think both Mustafa, the chair, and Jack will support me in this. We have the legacy in the Palm House. Palm House, when we started there, our worry was that will people come? Because we had a lot of antagonism, because some people thought that what we were doing is a devil work. We are spoiling the kids and we are taking them away from their religious thinking and so on. Today, the Palm House is the legacy of the festival. People come from, not only from the Arabic background, they come from Europe, they come from Ireland, they come from the Northwest. The Jews, the Muslims, the non-believers, they all join us together in that place. And I think that's where you feel like it is a community that is coming together and share something in common, and they enjoy it.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, what a history. On that very inspiring note, I think we're going to have to say thank you to our speakers, Jack and Jamila, and thank you as well to Tahir. And yeah, thank you everyone that tuned into the Hangout today. I'm really sorry, we had quite a lot of more questions coming in just at the very last minute. I will say, Layla, an interesting question about arts festivals and spaces. Any advice on how artists can work? I would say get in touch. Well, just from the Arab British Centre, that's what I would say, is reach out and speak, because everyone's kind of just programming interesting things and thinking about different ways that they can help support. So if you have any questions, we can always try and point you in some kind of direction. That's just from our perspective.
Both Jim and Becky, very quick point. Absolutely, and I think even the collaboration with Jamila and Hawiyya is a great example of that.
Great.
yeah, we're all here to make things happen and get through this situation and come out of it better with even more amazing arts and culture on the other side. So yeah, thank you so much to Jack and Jamila. And yeah, we do actually have well, I'll just say a couple of very quick announcements. Oh my god, sorry, my bird clock is going off, which is really embarrassing. Can anyone hear it? A different bird at every hour. It's very impressive. I'm not sure what this one is, but I would just wanted to quickly draw people's attention on the kind of education front. We do have an education pack which is available to download for free on our website from the resources section. We kind of posted about it this week, and we had a really amazing response from parents about how it was a useful resource for homeschooling and just giving ideas. So please download that, or if you have like a family member or a friend who is homeschooling at the moment, like it would be great if you could share it, because it could be really useful, and it's full of contemporary Arab culture references that support the teaching of the national curriculum. Are there any other announcements, Amani, Nadia?
Next week? Oh
yeah. So in an unprecedented turn of events, we have actually planned next week's hangout in advance. We are really excited to be welcoming Yusuf Kirkour, who is an amazing actor who most recently might be recognised from the Channel 4 series Home, which looks at the refugee experience through a very friendly character called Sammy. He's also part of the Royal Shakespeare Company, I think, and has lots of other amazing experiences and stories that I'm sure he'll be sharing with us. So the bookings for that will probably either be open today or like on Monday. So yeah, we hope that you'll join us next week. Cool. Okay, right. Thank you, guys.
All. Thank you, Arab Center, for organizing. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
See
Bye.
you.